I'm Eric Arneson. I'm going to help you bring your landscapes to life. Alright, so the next step in this design process is I'm going to apply another piece of trace paper over that red and green drawing. I'm going to tape it down. I'm going to start tracing over the hardscape elements first. So now we have all the hardscape lines drawn in. Let's start with the plant materials. With that, I'm going to use my drafting pen to start to outline the texture of these plants. I'm going to use the green lines under it as a stencil to trace over. I'm going to start with the existing trees. I'm going to start by drawing in the branches here in the center points of the tree. This is a multi-trunk tree, so it's going to have 3 dots to represent that it has multiple branches. And I'm going to use an irregular texture. Kind of work with a squiggly line, then intermittently breaking up with deeper swoops. I'm going to make sure that these existing trees have the same symbol and the same texture applied to each of them. I'm just using this green line that's under it as a guide for myself to really create a perfect circle that is using this irregular pattern. And what this does is creates a really consistent texture that represents the plant's diameter, but also shows somewhat of its textural character. And whenever you have shrubs that are nearby each other and you have the canopies overlapping, you never want to draw the two. You want to just continue one continuous line. As you can see, they're still holding the shape of a circle, but they have this new outline that's really embodies the style and feeling of this shrub. Also, it's important to show the center points, which represent where the tree will be planted. Also, you notice there's a hierarchy of plantings. The larger existing trees here, I do not want to draw the smaller shrubs underneath it, because when I render this, it'll become messy under these trees, and I don't want to show these lines. So I'm going to keep the space where this tree overlaps void of the line of the shrub. And that really helps create a clear sense of hierarchy between the plantings and shows depth. And these trees here, they're palm trees, so they're going to be rendered a little bit differently than the other trees. I'm going to start to trace out and show the leaf texture. Kind of render as if it was a feather on a bird's wing. So now we have those 2 palm trees drawn in. I'm going to start working on the understory. So I have these smaller circle templates drawn out, and these are going to be a variety of grasses and shrubs. So we're going to render them differently according to our planting design. So I want to really soften the edge of these hardscapes. This paving here, and just draw some squiggly lines to soften that up, while also drawing in a textured line for the shrubs. And you want to always follow these circles that you've created with a green line. You always want to follow that in all of your plantings, and that creates a very nice look in your drafted material. And it's something that you don't notice until you see a drawing that's drawn freehand versus one that's drawn traced with these lines, is that there's a certain uniformity that these circle template drawn plantings create, and it's very nice. One thing we want to start thinking about now is which way the sun is going to be casting in our drawing, because when we start to do the marker rendering, we want to shadow it and shade the plant material so it has a 3-dimensional feel. So I like to shade or add some texture, which creates the effect of shading. I like to stipple some of the shrubs and plant material on one side in an arc. So like, for example, on these shrubs, I just like to throw in some texture on one side. So I'm imagining the sun is casting from one side and then adding some texture to the other. So this adds some 3-dimensionality, which really helps your trees and shrubs pop off the drawing. And this is just done with simple adding of textures, try to represent what this shrub texture actually is. Also add some texture inside of these grasses. All right, so now that we've drawn everything in with a pen, we're ready to then apply our marker rendering.